besties, welcome back to the Bloom with Becca podcast. I'm your host, Becca. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. This is episode 2. We are still a fresh little baby podcast. Thank you so much for all the love on the launch of this podcast. I love you all. This week, we're going to be talking all things getting in the mood for autumn, romanticizing autumn, my little bucket list, wish list things I do to reset and kind of tackle seasonal depression, if you will, because we are heading into that time of the year. I'm going to be talking about some amazing films, a book I read recently, how I got a little bit emotional this week, had a little bumpy start to the weekend, but managed to pick myself up. I think I was just a little burnt out. I'm going to talk about how I deal with all that. I asked you guys as well on Instagram how you guys like to get in the mood for autumn, so we will be going into all of that. Enjoy. Hi, how are we? Oh my goodness. I am in such a good mood today. I had a really, really nice morning. It's Monday morning when I'm filming this. I'm actually cutting it a little bit close. I'm going to have to find a schedule that really works for me with filming these and making sure they are 100% up and ready for Wednesday morning. Because obviously with YouTube, I upload later on in the day, but a podcast, I want that to be available at 5 a.m. for whoever is going to be up that early. But yeah, I'm actually recording this podcast 6 weeks after I recorded last week's one, the first ever episode, because I just took so long to kind of launch it and I wanted to make sure everything was right, the editing style and all of that good stuff. I also wanted to allow a little bit of time to hype up the pod, and then it ended up being I announced it and then 2 days later the first episode came out, so it wasn't that much promo time. But obviously I want to touch on it and I want to give you guys the absolute biggest virtual hug, because this podcast was received so well by you guys, and I feel like it is something different to what you're used to seeing on YouTube. It is a little bit more touchy, a bit more sensitive, and yeah, that's the reason why I started this podcast, is to come here and talk about things that I feel maybe I can't really talk about on my YouTube. Not that I can't talk about them, but people go to my YouTube to come away and feel, I don't know, maybe lifted up for the week. That's what I like to think anyway. Whereas this podcast is I don't know, you're checking in with a friend, relating to the topics that I'm talking about, and just a bit more chatty. And yes, this episode theme is going to be just a little bit more lighthearted. I feel last week was quite heavy. I'll talk about in a second, was really, really well received from you guys, and I love you for that. But yeah, if I talk about something really heavy every week and open up my heart, I really don't know if that's what you guys want. But yes, from the bottom of my heart, every single person who listened, who messaged, who shared on their Instagram story, I love you. You have no idea how much that means to me, and to support me in that way. Some of the messages I received actually were really heartwarming. I connected a little bit more with you. So there's a girl who, I won't say what she said, but she sent me a voice memo and it literally made me cry, because she was just talking about how much she related to the past episode about, being a woman and struggling with body image, especially in your 20s when your body's changing and stuff. Yeah, that was, I don't know, crazy to kind of connect with one of you in that way. I do have a quick favor, to be annoying, but if you could please follow this on whatever you're listening to it on. So this podcast is available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. It has its own YouTube channel. This is a video podcast, in case you're listening and you didn't know that, and you want to, for whatever reason, look at my face whilst I'm talking. That is an option. And also, I believe the way the Spotify algorithm works is it really listens to your reviews. So if you rate this 5 stars on Spotify, it makes a big difference. Yeah, means a lot to me. So, little recap. What have I been up to this week? Little catch-up time. Like I mentioned, it's Monday morning. And sometimes, honestly, for me, Monday can feel a little bit of an off day. Usually I upload on YouTube on Sunday. So Mondays generally feel a little bit of, just a slower day. But this morning I got up nice and early. I had a nice 6 a.m. morning, which always makes me feel really good. And I booked myself a little reformer Pilates class, which I don't know, it's my happy place. I go to One Rebel in London. That's the studio I just always go to. They have like a bunch dotted around central London, I think. Never ever fails to put me in a good mood. Yeah, I just had a really nice start today with that class, and then I was walking home through Holland Park, which is like one of my favorite places in the world, maybe. Just like the most beautiful park, and it really looked like autumn today. Like proper crispy leaves everywhere. Autumn is here. Now listen, I am a girl who starts celebrating autumn, getting into the autumnal mood a little earlier than the average, I will admit. I'm okay with that. In my opinion, autumn is my favorite season, and it's only here for like 2 minutes. That's what it feels like. So I might start getting a little bit excited for it at the end of August. What you gonna do? I don't even feel bad. But I will say today actually really feels like autumn. And what's the date? This is the 18th of September. The temperature is finally dropping in London. It has been so hot. I hate to be a boring Brit and literally just talk about the weather on my podcast. So yeah, anyone in the UK knows like we've been experiencing very hot weather for September, and I love the heat. If I'm on holiday and it's 35 degrees, like I'm good in heat. But 30 degrees in September in London is just a no-go. This city is not built for it, and I am sorry, but I am so glad that the cooler weather is now here. It's actually raining right now, and it's just giving me the most cozy feels. I think maybe as well, I'm actually an autumn baby. My birthday is in November, and I'm gonna say that's partially why I love autumn so much. I literally had a friend message me the other day, and she was like, I hate how into autumn you get. I'm like, girl, I don't care. That's not a hater online. That is one of my closest friends telling me that. And it's like, I know. You all can stay in your little summer bubble until you're ready. And the content is there when you want to access it. Because it's been so long since I last filmed my first episode for this, I actually have a few like media recommendations. I'm someone who loves hearing about what are you watching right now? What are you into? I used to be someone who was very, very easygoing when it came to film and stuff, like very easily impressed, not a critic at all. And I'm not about to say that I am now a critic. However, I have been with Will for 5 years, and Will really is like a movie nerd. He knows his good films. He loves his good directors. We're the kind of couple that like we have to Rotten Tomato a film before we watch it to know if it's actually gonna be good or not. And I'm curious, you guys listen more to like the audience review or the critic review? Because Will has definitely made me a little bit more of a movie critic. I feel like I'm a little bit fussier, but I also feel like I enjoy movies more now. So a movie we watched really recently that I want to recommend is actually called Watcher. This is kind of on theme for this episode, or at least I'm going to say so, because it's kind of like a psychological thriller, I'd say. And obviously, I think autumn time, Halloween time, perfect time to get all cozy and watch scary films. I'm always terrible at trying to like summarize a synopsis. So it's just a very good film about this couple that moved to, I think it's Romania from New York. And it's about how the woman, the protagonist in this film, like how she's adjusting to life in Romania whilst her husband's like super busy with his job there. And she doesn't have a job. She's like learning the language and everything. But there's some horrible news going on like where she lives, that there's this murderer lurking about, and she has suspicions that it's actually her neighbor. So that's all I'll say. It was really, really good. I think just like beautifully shot, beautifully filmed, really, really smart storytelling, not too on the nose. You know, with horror films when sometimes like the scares are cheap, none of that. Like genuinely the scary bits were scary. It was creepy. And I can't remember the actress's name because I'm useless with names, but she was so good. She's also so beautiful. I was looking at her the whole film being like, oh my God, I wish I had your face. Second movie I actually watched this weekend was Elemental, the Disney Pixar film. I think this came out like months ago. I'm not even sure, but I don't think they marketed it that well. Is that unfair to say? Maybe. I genuinely don't think they did because I was not like rushing to see this film. And we had a really lazy weekend. We're scrolling through Disney Plus. Started to watch the Little Mermaid film, like the new one. And I'm sorry to say, like, turned it off within 5 minutes because I couldn't vibe with it. I'm not gonna pretend I gave it a fair enough shot, because I didn't. I literally gave it 5 minutes. It was just like the CGI. It was uncanny valley. Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood. So we switched to Elemental, and I'm so glad we did, because I cried like 3 times during that film. It is so undersold. I swear, I haven't heard anyone talk about it. It was the cutest, sweetest film. Like, I want to show my future kids that film. I think it had a really important message with it. It kind of was about like families who immigrate. It was basically set in this like city that was sort of loosely inspired by New York. And New York, similar to London, is obviously like this super diverse city with a load of different cultures in it. Like, a load of people immigrate there. They had like different elements living there. So you had like earth, wind, fire, water. And it was about like how the world's kind of built for water elements, water people. So it focused around this really sweet fire family who had like moved there, and it was about them like adjusting, and they set up a little shop, and their kid grows up and she's like destined to take over her father's shop. But yeah, anyway, such a cute, emotional film. I love Disney Pixar. I'm sorry. It is, I swear, just as much for adults as it is for kids. Like, the messaging, and it's just so creative as well. I love how they're amazing at coming up with completely new storylines and everything. I just think everyone should see it. I loved it. Also, I just want to quickly mention this. Okay, I can't remember if it was BBC or like Channel 4 or ITV. I'm going to say it was BBC though. It has released a documentary on dark ballet. I think it's called The Dark Side of Ballet. And I just thought that was a little bit of a coincidence, because I touched on the effects of like doing ballet as a young girl in my past episode. How for me, it like created some issues with body confidence. And this documentary, they were interviewing kids who went to like some of the top ballet schools in the UK, like the Royal Ballet School. And it was just so upsetting to hear how some of these young dancers were treated. Yeah, it's just a sport that's so focused on the way you look, and particularly like how slim you are. Really interesting. And what else have I been up to? In last week's episode, I was talking about how I started acting classes. I actually got a couple of people like messaging me asking for more details and stuff. I was literally just doing like a half a day thing on a Saturday with a school here in London. And I've actually finished my block, because it was only like a 6-week block. It wasn't that I didn't like it. I want to be really clear. The actual acting part, like working with other actors, reading scripts, all of it was amazing. And I don't know, just like reignited my love for all of that, because I did quite a bit of acting when I was a kid. And that's why I did it. I wanted to like get back into it. But yeah, I just don't think I loved the school, the way it was structured and everything. And like, I didn't feel like I was getting that much feedback. So that was a bit frustrating, like week on week. But, you know, it's not stopping me. I think I'm just going to go see if I can find like another acting school part-time thing in London. But yeah, I actually missed my last class. And I basically woke up on Saturday morning. And like, these classes start at 9, so every Saturday has been an early start, and I think it was just like catching up with me a little. And this past week have been pretty busy with like launching the pod, and I did my autumn morning routine, which is one of my like bigger videos of the year, if you will. Like, it's one of my more, I don't know, it takes more time to put together. And it's important to me that it's received well by you guys. So yeah, just like a busy week, but a really, really good week. And so that's why I don't know why I woke up on Saturday morning. I was in the worst mood. Will woke up and I kind of was just like, I'm not in the mood. And he was like, but you'll love it. You'll have fun. And I was like, I don't know why. My reaction to that was like, start crying. I don't know if it's because I was kind of disappointed by that school. Again, like, I loved it when I was there, like the actual acting part. It was just like a bit frustrating not knowing where I stood with it. And I don't know, just like other things in my head, overthinking things. Honestly, I think I was just tired. And my period started today. So I'm not going to deny that definitely came into play, because I was a bit like, why can't I stop crying? Will was like driving me to go to the station so I could go into central London to go to this class. And I actually couldn't stop crying in the car. So I was like, I can't go like this. I was like, let's just drive to Regent's Park, because I don't know why I was like craving that. Just like a really nice walk with Mochi. Mochi was with us, and so yeah, just kind of took a U-turn and went to Regent's Park and ended up having just the nicest weekend. I think that's kind of what I needed, just like a no work, no plans either kind of weekend, like actual resetting, mentally resetting. And yeah, we ended up watching Elemental, a Disney film, in the middle of the day, which was wonderful. Like, not something we do very often. When we do, it feels like a real treat. I had such a nice weekend, and I think that's why this Monday morning I do feel really good. I feel really refreshed. I'm in a great mood, and I'm ready for like a productive week. Burnout is a real thing, and that's like a big question I got, or request actually, because I put a little question box in my last episode on Spotify, just asking like, what topics do you guys want to hear from me? And I think a couple of you said burnout. The most requested thing was resetting for autumn and like getting in the mood for autumn. So that's going to be the main theme of this episode. But I did want to touch on burnout, because I think burnout is like, it's kind of inevitable for everyone. Burnout is something you experience when you're a student, whether you're self-employed, whether you work in an office, whether you're unemployed. Burnout is so normal, and it is just a result of maybe not listening to your body when it needs a break. For me, I know that's the case at least. I actually felt like a kid on Saturday morning who didn't want to go to school, like waking up and crying and being like, I don't want to go. I was literally crying while I was putting my makeup on. I felt like such a baby. Ironically, like I actually never cried when I was a kid about going to school. I liked school. But this morning, as a 24-year-old going to acting school on a Saturday, I was crying because I was like, I don't want to go. But it was my last class. I was like, I know I have to go. And then it wasn't until we were in the car and I was like, I don't have to go. Like, I am an adult, and this is my body telling me, like, you're actually doing a little bit too much this week. Just stop, because you're not going to do it properly. When you're like that, when you kind of reach that point of burnout is like your body forcing you to stop. But I'm telling you, my cure, go on a really good walk. I am so grateful to have a little doggy, to have Will, and that just be like our favorite activity to do on the weekends. London is filled with so many beautiful parks, and we love taking advantage of that as dog owners. So yeah, went to Regent's Park and then got brunch in St. John's Wood. Is that what that neighborhood's called? I've only been there a couple times. Really cute there. I think my screen time like over the week was like 6 hours, 5 hours. And I do know that was work. It wasn't like me just scrolling tons. But still, I don't know, so much digital stimulation. I know that kind of leads to burnout. Like by Friday, my eye was kind of twitching away. And then I haven't actually said it, but I did wake up and read a couple comments on Saturday morning that rubbed me the wrong way, which is funny because I always say like in my morning routines and stuff, like I do not go on my phone for the first hour of my day. And a lot of mornings I try that, but Saturday morning, like it was not a perfect morning routine by any means. It was like a get up, rush to get ready to get to class on time. When I want that like lazy way of waking my ass up, I go on my phone to like get the quick hit of dopamine to wake me up, to get my brain going. And I know that's not healthy. I like never recommend that, but that's what I did on Saturday morning. And I checked my YouTube analytics. I saw a couple comments, and yeah, that mixed in with like feeling guilty about not wanting to go to this thing that's meant to be a hobby. I just felt a little bit pathetic. Okay, let's talk all things autumn. Of course, I don't know, I feel a little bit more inspired in autumn. I feel like autumn is the season where I thrive a bit more. Like I said, it's my favorite season, and it always has been, literally since I was a kid. But yeah, I thought we could talk about just my like ultimate guide to getting in the mood for fall. I keep saying fall, but I am a Brit, so it is autumn. But I feel like I consume so much content from American creators that I just start calling it fall. I actually got a message earlier this week from a lovely person saying like, I normally feel a little bit of like seasonal depression starting this time of year, but your content actually kind of makes me excited and motivated for the cozier season. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never thought that. Like, I've always thought of my content as like, yeah, for those that love autumn already. Obviously, not everyone does, and that's completely fine. I do get like, we're now going into the time of year where, yeah, it's colder, the days are shorter, like it gets darker in the mornings and darker in the evenings. I don't think I've ever met someone who likes that. So I'm gonna go over my like autumnal wish list, things I want to do, maybe put you in the mood to inspire you. I don't know. I have like spoken about a few of these on my Reset for Autumn video on YouTube, so I'll try not be too repetitive. But yeah, go to Edinburgh. I'm actually going to Edinburgh this week. I'm going this weekend. I'm so ready. I'm going with Will and Mochi, which makes me so happy. My parents live there. My sister lives in Glasgow, but she's going to come over for the weekend, so it'll just be like the most wholesome family weekend. Whenever I talk about like struggling to make friends in your 20s and like moving to a new city and feeling like you don't have any friends, I need to remember I do have friends. I do. I am so lucky. I have a really good bunch of friends up in Edinburgh, and I am a shitty person for not visiting more. I've not been home since February. It is terrible. My parents have come to visit me twice this year. They've been amazing at coming down to London to see me. And I haven't been home since February. That's terrible. I don't know why my friends are still friends with me. And then also I feel really bad because I go up for a weekend, like this weekend, and I can't see everyone. And it's just so difficult. I'm sure people relate to this. Like when you go to your hometown, you almost want to be hush about it because you don't want to make anyone feel bad for not like seeing them. But yeah, how does Edinburgh relate to this little autumn wish list, bucket list? Edinburgh is beautiful in autumn. Like stunning. Edinburgh has the old cobble roads, the old buildings. Like there's a whole part of town called Old Town with just the most beautiful historic stone buildings. There's also like Edinburgh Castle. It's just a very majestic land. It's the birthplace of Harry Potter, and the autumnal colors, like when the leaves fall and stuff, it just complements everything really well. It's so beautiful. If you've never been to Edinburgh, I know I'm biased, but I really do recommend you go. I think it's different to any other city in the UK. So yeah, we're doing the 4.5 hour train journey from London to Edinburgh with a dog, which is no joke. To be fair, Mochi's really good on public transport. If you've ever met me like out and about in London, I feel like sometimes I meet more subscribers when I'm with Mochi because Mochi's way more standout looking than I am. And if you've ever met me, or if you do ever meet me when I have Mochi, I'm so sorry because he will bark at you. He is a dash hound, and dash hounds are so barky. They have like the biggest attitude. Anyway, my point is he's a little bit of a temperamental dog. The most loving dog ever though, when he like knows you. But I don't know, we got lucky. He's so good on transport, on trains, on the tube, in the car. He just gets it. We get on the train, and even though we're sitting there for hours, I don't know how that little boy manages to hold his pee in, considering how tiny his bladder must be for all that time. But yeah, he's a little superstar. So yeah, next on my wish list is something I've managed to book, which is an unplugged cabin. I was going to say cabin. I'm actually working with Unplugged on a video. So the point is that it's like a digital detox for 3 days, but I will obviously have to be slightly working because I'll be shooting content for them. But I do really plan to like lock my phone away for 3 days. So yeah, Unplugged have these really cute, beautiful cabins like dotted around, I think England, maybe more South England, I'm not sure. But yeah, you go there for 3 days and you do a digital detox. You put your phone away and you're just surrounded in nature. They're like these really beautiful little cabins just plopped in the woods. It kind of sounds like a horror film when I describe it like that, but they are so cute, so cozy. They have like a little fire pit. I'm pretty sure they all come with like board games. Will and I and Mochi, we're all going to go do one of those early October. And I also think it'll be amazing because I got a phone when I was 11, and since then, like, I don't think I've gone a day without my phone, let alone 3 days. I'm really excited. I think it'll be amazing. I also plan to bring some books with me. I was going to say make it really productive, but that's not the point. Like, I actually do want to relax and also spend like proper quality time with Will. Go on cute walks through the woods, not get lost somehow without our phone. I don't know, we'll plan it out. But like, it makes you realize, even just saying ideas like that makes you realize how much we rely on our phones. I can't even go downstairs to like let Mochi out to pee without my phone because I'm like, well, what if I get locked out, or what if something happens? The more I say this, the more it sounds like the perfect setup for a horror film. Like, you don't have access to a phone, you have no signal, you're in this random little cabin in the woods. Cabin in the Woods, actually, I do not like that film, whilst we're talking about it. Anyway, what else have I got? Go to a pumpkin patch. Very original, I know, but I've actually never done it, I don't think. No, I've never done it. I just think perfect chance to get some cute photos. Really get in the Halloween spirit. I want to go to a horror house. I feel like there must be one in London. A couple years ago, we went to Derry in Northern Ireland to celebrate Halloween because Will's family actually lives in Derry. They do Halloween right. They do Halloween like no other city in the UK. You know how Americans go more all out for Halloween? I feel like that's the way anyway. Yeah, Halloween just doesn't feel like it's as big a thing in the UK. However, I freaking love Halloween. Yeah, and we went to Derry a couple years ago. They had like this haunted horror house that you could walk through. It's like a 5-minute thing. And I was like, I was a little skeptical. I was like, how scary can this be? It was fucking terrifying. I don't know what the rules and regulations are there. Actually terrifying. Like, your senses are cut off, they're restricted. Some of the rooms are like pitch black. You just have these actors like screaming in your ears, touching you. I did not think I was going to be touched whilst walking through this horror house. Yeah. And then you do see some things like fake surgeries and I don't know, like creepy little gremlin children running. I don't even know. It all happened so fast and I was so scared, but it was such a thrill and I would love to do it again. I'm someone who I hate rides, but I love getting spooked like that. I get motion sickness and I think that's why I hate rides. Otherwise, I feel like I would really like them. So it's kind of sad. Okay, books. I read The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret within the past month. I read The Housemaid's Secret first actually because that's the sequel and I didn't even realize I was reading a sequel to a series and I loved it. So I went and read the first book. And not to brag, because this is so out of character for me. I don't think I've ever read a book this fast. I read it in 2 days. And loads of you guys were messaging me saying, oh my God, it's so good. I read it in 2 days. And I've always been that person who's like, I don't understand how that's physically possible to read a book in 2 days. Let me tell you, that book you cannot put down. It is so fast paced. And the whole point is you want to understand what's going on. You want to get to the end. Things aren't actually as they seem, and it's one of those stories. Yeah, I feel like a good book as well for this time of year. It's a little bit creepy what's going on. I want to read Too Late by Colleen Hoover, and I also want to read Carrie Soto is Back. That's something I recommend because getting into the cozy season, I feel like, for me at least, social plans are, I make less of them. Now going into autumn, winter, summer, you're living your best hot girl summer life, just being busy. Whereas, this is the perfect time of year to enjoy your own company, to get lost in a book. I love that feeling when you're really into a book. If you're into this, because you totally might not be, but something I do love to do is change up my wallpapers to get me more in the mood. And so I love using Canva and Pinterest just to put together a really cute little mood board. Sometimes I'll pull inspiration from my wish list. So for example, put little pictures of the cabin or Edinburgh in my mood board. So I don't know, it's obviously also a bit of manifestation board where you're putting it out there so that you do actually make these plans. Maybe you fell off routine with summer, obviously just being busy or going on holiday time. It's really hard to stick in routine or stick with a workout routine. Maybe that's something you want to focus on going into these months, working on bettering yourself and focusing on yourself. Yeah, just spending some time getting into a workout schedule you like. I think the biggest thing with working out is you have to find workouts you actually find enjoyable. That's always been one of my biggest tips with how I actually started enjoying working out and doing it consistently. It cannot feel like this horrible chore that you're just doing for arbitrary reasons. You have to really like it and enjoy it like a hobby. So whether that's maybe doing like Pilates classes, or if you get into weightlifting and you really enjoy seeing progression with you, like, you know, upping your weights each week. I don't know. Don't wait for the new year to like set new fitness goals and stuff. I think this time of year is like such a good point for resetting, reflection, working on yourself, like I've said. And I think I mentioned this in my YouTube video. It stems from, for me, years of education. Like this would be the point of the new year, starting the new academic year, and you setting new goals for yourself. And yeah, that just like carries on into adulthood. I think there's always a little spark, for me at least, this time of year to change things up. But yeah, get your graphic design skills on and just go have fun, like scrolling through Pinterest and getting inspiration with like fall looks, all the cozy feels, get them into a mood board and just embrace autumn. Obviously a big thing I think a lot of people associate with like how to reset for autumn is decorating your home, redecorating. And this is something I admittedly do every single year. I am tempted to do this every single year. I absolutely get tempted to go to my favorite homeware stores like Zara Home, H&M Home, Home Sense, great for this time of year, pick up some new bits. However, I do feel like it's a little bit unnecessary. I know I go a little further with it because of what I do, and like I want my home to look autumnal for the videos I film on YouTube. So for me, it's literally like, it feels like I'm decorating this little set studio for me to film in. So I do want to say, like, don't feel pressured to go and buy a bunch of pumpkins. I think if that's something you're into, then yeah, it's cute to treat yourself to some new candles, to maybe incorporate some warmer colors into your home, like treat yourself to a new throw, some new bedding, those kind of bits. This year, I actually was more inspired to just give my home a little bit of a revamp in general, just elevate it with bits that I plan to keep out all year round, because I've spoken about on YouTube, but we're trying to move this year. We're actually trying to buy in London. There's just been delay after delay, and it's probably not happening this year. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't want to just like keep waiting around to spruce up my home. I was just like not seeing the point in making my home feel more homey, because I didn't know how much longer we would actually be living here. But I'm now like, okay, well, we don't know. So I might as well just make this home as cozy as I can. And, you know, the pieces I've bought recently are like, they definitely will come to the new home with us. So, but I will say actually something I have done recently to my home, a little recommendation, because I think it makes a hell of a difference. And my inspiration actually came from, I think it was a creator on TikTok or Instagram. I saw like her reel, and she had bought some lights to create like ambient lighting in her home. And I know that's not like this new thing, but she had just done it so beautifully that inspired me to go buy a couple bits. So I bought the Fado IKEA lamp. It's like that ball, and you can put a light bulb in it. I just think it is so nice having this lamp that gives off like such a warm light. Even having it on in the day, it makes your home feel cozier. So ambient lighting is like a huge thing for this time of year, especially with the daylight. Like it's gonna happen by the end of the year. It's gonna be getting darker at like 4 p.m. So these are little ways to just like, I don't know, combat seasonal depression and treat yourself. I also actually got some products from Philips Hue. Bought a strip light to go behind my TV, and I can like control it on the app, or I've actually connected it to Alexa, so I can ask her to change the color, to change the hue, to change the brightness of it. Just nice touches that make your home like, yeah, a more smart home. Feels bougie. Nice little way to treat yourself. Watch some of your favorite shows, your favorite films that you like associate with this time of year. That's a big one for me. So I like to get back into like Gilmore Girls. Instantly puts me in the autumnal spirit. Hocus Pocus, great, cute little film to watch for Halloween. Like I kind of was talking about earlier, I'm a horror film fanatic. I love horror films. I know they're not for everyone, and that's okay. I think you should not like horror films actually. Like, why do we want to be scared? Why do we want to freak ourselves out? And if you watch a scary film and it doesn't freak you out, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. So I'm not one of those like horror film fanatics who's like, yeah, I don't get scared. Nothing scares me. I get freaked out. But I think the reason why I can do horror films is because I only get freaked out for the night. Whereas I have friends, and I'm sure people relate because this is so common, who watch a horror film and then you're fucking freaked out for weeks. Like you keep seeing the monster, the villain in your real life or dreaming about them. And I'm like, I'm so glad I don't get that. I go to bed that night and I wake up all good. I've forgotten about it. I probably won't dream about it. Discovering new recipes, play around with like some baking. Such a nice thing to do this time of year. I actually made carrot cake pancakes the other day and they were so good. I made them in my autumn morning routine. So if you want to go find the recipe, I talk about it in that video, but they were so good, so quick. Like actually a really healthy little breakfast and also not too long. Like pancakes sometimes take a while, but the recipe I do is super fast and it was so yum. I really recommend. So yeah, get on TikTok and find those cute little like autumnal themed recipes. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is I like really get into watching certain creators this time of year. So my favorite creators to watch for autumn content, Gemma Louise Miles, obviously she creates beautiful cozy vlogs this time of year. I just love her aesthetic. She's so beautiful. Her content's incredible. I love Darling Desi. She is like a filmmaker. I get so much inspiration from her. She just like, oh my gosh, the quality of her content is incredible. Watch one of her videos right now. It will instantly transport you into the autumn mood. She's so good. And then two people I just kind of watch all year round. My favorite YouTuber of all time is actually Rachel Autumn-Reith. She just does vlogs. Like mainly that's what she does. She's quite into fashion, but she does a lot of just like home body vlogs. And she's just amazing at talking to the camera. There's like, not in a rude way, there's nothing crazy about her editing or the way she films, but it's all her personality. And she is my favorite YouTuber. Like I've watched her for years. 100% just comes off so authentic on camera. It feels like you're talking to a friend. Her vlogs are really long and chatty as well. Yeah, I just love her videos. Michelle Reed is another content creator like that. I've been watching her for years. She's now pregnant, which is so sweet. And yeah, she creates like the best cozy vlogs. She just seems so sweet as well as a person. Okay, I'm just opening up Instagram because I did ask you guys, how do you reset for autumn? And what's like your wish list for the season? So I'm just going to see what you guys said. Visit a pumpkin patch, yes. Chilly morning runs, I love that. It's actually better to run in the chilly weather. Like running in the heat is horrible. Trying new recipes, scary films. Lots of people said decorate, obviously. Get out the scarves. Yes, like transition your wardrobe. That's something I didn't touch on. Reading more books. I love that. Planning cozy nights at home. Oh, girl, give yourself like a cozy autumn evening routine. I can't wait to film that video. That's a video I love to film every single year. Run a bath. Do some baking. Someone said buying the Rory Gilmore pullover. I feel like there's so many cute trends right now. I really want a new Ralph Lauren sweater. I feel like that's just like your perfect cable knit sweater. Has anyone seen the Totem jacket? It's definitely a more investment piece. It is an expensive jacket, but I think, I saw a girl wearing one of the green ones last year. No, sorry, it was actually the start of this year, but whilst it was still cold. And I said to Will on the tube, I was like, oh my God, I love her jacket. And he was like, why don't you ask her where it's from? And I was like, oh no, I got just scared. I got shy. And he ended up going up to her and being like, my girlfriend loves your jacket. Like, where's it from? And she said Totem. Now I'm like, maybe I'll treat myself. Beautiful. Very expensive. But definitely like a good investment piece. People are saying general glow up, buying new candles. I love woodwick candles, by the way. They're my favorite because they like crackle the sound and they actually give off quite a bit of heat. Yeah, I'm going to end there. You guys sent in so many and a lot of them are really similar to the things I have already listed. But I hope you guys are excited for autumn, or I mean, you don't have to be as excited as I am. I'm a bit of a freak. But I don't know, you guys requested a little autumnal themed pod, and yeah, I'm gonna end it there. My voice is so tired. I need to like train myself up for these long episodes. I wonder how long this one is gonna be because I feel like I really have been talking for a while. But yeah, it was so nice to have a little chin wag. This definitely was a more relaxed kind of episode. Keep an eye out for what the next theme will be and be sure to get involved on Instagram. If you don't already follow Bloom with Becca on Instagram, make sure you do. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I actually need to edit this pod now. And I'm going to have a really cozy evening with Will. And thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Remember to follow on all the platforms so you don't miss out on an episode. Mwah. Love ya. Thank you, my loves, for listening to this week's episode of Bloom with Becca. Be sure to follow the Bloom with Becca Instagram page to get involved each week with your questions, your stories, your thoughts on different topics, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next week for a new episode. Love you. Bye.